Well, when to stop feeding puppy food depends on the breed of dog. The larger breeds versus the smaller breeds. The larger ones, you probably want to go just a little further. The recommendation typically are 9 to 12 months, and that's when they kind of would mature into that. So in general about that. The female, what you want to do is it's best to kind of let them reach maturity at about 6 months, and it's really good to spay them before they go into heat, which is typically, it depends on the size of the breed of dog, but typically they go into heat at 7 to 8 months, so you want to spay them before that. The benefits of that, number one, you don't have to deal with heat and all that goes with that, and all the mess with that, and then if there's male dogs in the neighborhood, you can kind of avoid all that. One of the biggest things too is that if they never experience that estrogen surge when they go into heat, they're dramatically less likely to develop mammary cancer later. So it's a really good health benefit with that. So about 6 months or so. In Humane Society settings, they will be neutered and spayed earlier than that. But if we, as a general practice, about 6 months or so. With males, to neuter them, the recommendation has changed a little bit. It used to be 6 months, and really the only reason it was 6 months is because we spayed females at 6 months. So with research that had been done, they really kind of feel that dogs that are neutered later, 9 months, 12 months, as they get older, they tend to retain their body strength a lot better. They're not quite as feeble. So there are some large breed recommendations that go out as much as 2 years. So if they're not having any kind of vices like peeing where they shouldn't, or aggression or humping or anything like that, if those aren't happening, you can kind of get it out to 9 months, 12 months. And the health benefits of that, of being neutered, are there's no testicular problems if they don't have them, and certainly prostate things and all that. And then if we wait this a little bit longer, those benefits are still realized, but they're not as feeble later in life. So that's where we'll be with that. That is a question we do get a lot, and it does not seem to do that. It would a pretty reasonable consideration to remove a hormone source, and then if it would change their personality. But my personal experience with the dogs I've had and all of our clients, it's not really a thing so much. So what is kind of unique is whenever they are spayed, they're at that they're going in from one phase of life to another anyway. They're going from kind of a adolescent era on into a more mature kind of a stage of their life. So their personality will change a little as they mature. They may not be quite the goofball and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of times that comes anyway just because as they mature with their age. So, but as a general rule, when they're spayed or neutered, it does not seem to change their personality. When I was in college, I was in a band, and we played through the summer, and at the end of the summer, I needed to go back to school to get some more classes, and I would have had a minor in biology if I would have done that. And then with that, I would have a little better shot to get into vet school. So I told the guys in the band I was going to have to quit the band and go back to school. So one of my band members was really upset with me, and he said, you could be in this great band for the rest of your life, or you could spend the rest of your life with your finger up a dog's rear end. So that gets us to the question about anal glands, and I did tell him later that every time I do that, I think of him. So with dogs that have anal gland trouble, anal glands are a gland that express a scent gland. So every time they contract their rectum while they're using the bathroom, or or a little scared or whatever, that deposits a little anal gland stuff, and it's a scent, and it's sort of a communication to let you know that Skippy was here and all that. And so on the river trail, they can kind of tell where everybody's been. So that's the deal with that. So being that it's a duct that goes to the outer opening from a gland, sometimes that duct can get inflamed, and then when it does, it won't let that gland express, so it backs up and it fills up, and it's pretty uncomfortable. So there are some dogs that seem to be a little bit more prone to that. There are certain smaller breeds that tend to be a little prone to that. Dogs that are kind of chunky, a little bit on the obese side, they tend to be a little prone to that. And a lot of it, if you think of what's going on back there, if there's a lot of fat, it may just a physical, using the bathroom typically expresses the anal gland. If there's a lot of fat, it would maybe kind of buffer it a little bit, and they might not express like they ought to. Part of it too is kind of a first world problem, and by that, our diets are so luxuriously digestible that there's not a lot of bulk to the stool. So with that, the stools are smaller, and mechanically they don't really express their anal glands like they would out in the wild. I would doubt very seriously that a coyote would ever have anal gland trouble, because they're pooping fur and everything else. Their stools are pretty large, so they mechanically would take care of that. So with that, if they scoot or lick back there, they've got a high likelihood of some anal gland trouble, and then that's when we go in and I think of my friend, and we kind of express their anal glands. And in the extreme cases, when they have to be expressed a lot, they sometimes they can be removed where you don't have that trouble. So that's but we do get that question a lot.